Dear Katie, so much has changed, even just since you've been away. We moved into this house. I'm in a new school, and my big sister being gone for a year doesn't make it any easier. It doesn't feel real, but I'm not gonna let it faze me. I used to tell you everything, and if I can't do it in person, because you're off gallivanting around who knows where, I'll tell it to this journal, just like I was talking to you.
Good evening, my friends. This is Paul, and tonight I'm going to be continuing my review of Gone Home. This time it's going to be from a Catholic perspective, and in a pretty rare move for me when I do my Catholic reviews. I'm also going to be talking about the story in general and what I thought about it and does it hold up. So before you watch this, I recommend that you watch my previous video called Can a Person Be LGBT and Catholic? Because that's going to be a huge part of the narrative that I'm going to be covering. Because, as you know from that video, because I don't want to repeat myself too much, the Catholic Church doesn't condemn homosexuals to begin with. It's homosexual activity that they have a beef with. And yes, that is the main thing in the story, is that Sam, which is the player's, aka Katie's sister, is a lesbian, and she has an ongoing official lesbian relationship, but the Catholic Church completely frowns upon. Now, before I continue this review, I want to say that this is my second take going through the Catholic review, because I originally spoke this without reading the developer's commentary. Well, then I went back and played through the game again, and this time I got all of the prompts, I think except one, and I forget why I didn't go back and get it again, but I read the developer's commentary to think, okay, I want to make sure I've pieced together all of the clues, I want to make sure I'm not missing any context, I want to make sure I've done my research, listening to Bubbling Brooks' YouTube channel where she critiques other YouTubers. I was like, if she ever sees this video, I want to make sure she knows I've done my research. So I did. I listened to the commentaries, read through the story, and I came to the conclusion of I really admire the work that Fulbright Company put into even the smallest things that I didn't think were that relevant. Like the duck I picked up at the beginning of my footage for my regular review. I was like, okay, it's just a duck, but apparently that was like this super popular thing among the fans. But that's not really relevant to the story. So let's talk about the relationship. First of all, the Catholic Church condemns homosexual activity. You know that already. But the interesting thing during the developer commentary is that they wanted it to be a family conflict. And they also said that the parents are very strictly religious. In fact, there's tons of hints of Christianity and Catholicism throughout the house. Like you can find a crucifix in the basement passage, you can find Bibles in some of the drawers, and even some crosses. In fact, there's even a gag where if you go into the basement and you do pick up the crucifix, it'll permanently turn off the lights down there. So if you're the type that gets easily scared of the dark, you might want to avoid picking up that crucifix. Another thing that I thought was kind of interesting is that the developers put in a little Easter egg where there's this super inappropriate note that describes all the gross stuff that Sam and Lonnie do because they're in this relationship. Honestly, the whole thing kind of made me gag. And thankfully, apparently Katie thought so as well, because the game literally does not let you read the rest of the note. So it goes to show that there's at least some moral restraint in this household full of people that literally have no redeeming qualities apart from the dad's an author that originally failed, but then someone decided to republish his books, so he's no longer a failed author. The mother decides that she's going to be a controlled fire ranger, where she sets up a controlled fire, permanently gets reassigned to Florida, and then that's why Katie is all alone, is because the family decided, hey, let's move out. But we're going to talk about Sam mostly, because the parents don't really have much of an issue except with how they deal with Sam, which is when they find out that Sam has been having this lesbian relationship, of course, they're going to be pretty darn furious, like any parents should. And they do what's called discipline, meaning that because Sam is underage, in fact, there's actually a birthday card that says that she's 17 years old during the time of this game. And they say, well, you're still under 18, you're still under our authority, so therefore you're going to be grounded, and we can't be having you have a locked door when Lonnie's in the house with you, which is, of course, a perfectly reasonable thing for Catholic parents to do, is they'd want to make sure, like, okay, you have to respect us while you're in the house. And the Bible even goes so far as to say, parents, make sure you discipline your children, because discipline is from the same root word as disciple or a student. You are learning from your parents. Parents aren't supposed to oppress the kids. They're supposed to teach them what's right and what's wrong. So the unfortunate thing about Sam is, even though the developers put a lot of work into making sure that, yeah, she was an outcast, and yeah, because she's a teenager, she's going to want to come and make her own decisions, it's unfortunate that Sam doesn't really have any redeeming qualities. So let's just pretend for a minute that Sam's relationship is totally okay in the Catholic Church. Lesbian relationships are totally fine. Catholic Church has no problem with it. The problem is that Sam's just not a very good character otherwise. For one, she has this friend named Daniel, whom she really liked because he had a Super Nintendo and she's a gaming geek. In fact, in the version that I'm playing on the Nintendo Switch, you can actually find vintage cartridges of Super Mario Kart and A Link to the Past, which the developer's commentary didn't focus on because it was based on the original PC version, but I presume since it's on a Nintendo system, they got the rights. Anyway, so first off, Lonnie used to like this guy as a friend, and eventually she decided that he's being, quote, a weirdo, and therefore she's going to ditch him because she's in this relationship with another girl. I mean, what gives? I know she's a teenager and she's prone to making stupid decisions, but come on, couldn't they have given her some redeeming feature? Like, I mean, I know she's got creative writing, cool, but what about her character? What about, is she a kind person to other people besides just this girl? We have letters that show her throwing fits at her parents. We have letters showing her writing secret letters to her big sister. We have letters saying that she accused people of defacing property. Oh my gosh, it's just a mess of a character. And yes, I think it's cool that the voice actress, who did a phenomenal job, by the way, came on and said what she thought about doing the lines and how apparently the most emotional letter took her only one take to do. It stinks that the character, instead of just accepting this defeat and acting in a mature, grown-up way, because, you know, she's almost 18, you would think, okay, I'm going to start making better decisions, and I'm going to, you know, be sad about this, but then I'll also not act like a total crybaby and cry and scream and holler at my parents. Nope. Basically, Lonnie just has a change of heart at the end and says, hey, you know what? I went into training for the army. Now I'm just going to screw all that and run off with you, totally against the will of your parents. And why? Because we can. Because I have a car, so therefore I have freedom. And the developers openly admitted that these are kind of very feminist ideals. And in case I haven't mentioned this in other videos, I actually am not against feminism at its core. I think that the original concept of feminism was a great idea, and I would totally advocate for the true feminist movement to return. But there's also a movement called radical feminism, which is basically, well, we want to be better than men. We want to be superior. The original feminism was just having equal rights. Equal does not mean better. From the beginning, God said they are one flesh. They're also different. So, yeah, the morality's pretty screwed. But I do want to say that I took the time to really piece through the story, and I just couldn't really find anything that would make these characters likable on a moral level. Yeah, it's cool that they went out of their way to, like, make every detail authentic and make sure that it's a dysfunctional family, but they didn't go out of the way to make sure that the family learned from their mistakes, or that, you know, they've reconciled or gone back together. It kind of just leaves you hanging, like, okay, did the family abandon Sam? Did Sam ever come back to the parents and apologize? What did Sam do after she got older. Did she maybe rethink her ways and realize, yeah, maybe I was being an immature teenager? It's all left to the guesswork. And I think that's the biggest problem with the narrative, is that it just says, okay, she is going to get into this relationship and not learn anything about it. So with that, if I have missed anything, let me know in the comments section. If you disagree with me, please do so in a reasonable fashion. Remember, it's polite that when you're in a debate, you don't attack the debater, you attack the topic itself. So please be controlled or you will be automatically deleted. I know people have called me the PC police. I don't care. My channel, my rules. So with that, thank you very much for watching, and until the next time, keep the faith, stay epic, God bless, and make sure your hormones don't get in the way of major life decisions. It can be screwy. Bye.